Bobby, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, it's time to call the Farragut Beer Board for May 12th to order. The first item is the approval of minutes.
I wasn't at that meeting, but I would approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes have passed and have been approved. Next item is the agenda. There's going to be one slight change to the agenda. We are going to move item number 4 up to the head of the list. That's the hearing to address the China Pearl. At this point, I'm going to turn this over to our attorney, Tom.
Thank you. Of course, as everybody probably is aware, the main purpose of the Beer Board meeting this evening is to take up a number of violations of sales to minors. And we have a procedure, which I believe everybody's been provided a copy of the procedure. Generally, the way these things work is that if the parties, after Wolfie explains what the violations are for each individual establishment, if the party does not contest that their employee committed a violation, then we move directly to the penalty phase of the proceeding to determine. The board will ask questions of you and determine what penalty, if any, they would levy. So that's generally the way it's always proceeded. I think the first time in the history of the town that we've had a translator here today. Welcome. I don't think we've ever had a translator before, so we'll stumble through this as best we can. But if we could, I think probably the first order of business is anybody that thinks that they are going to say anything or need to testify, we would want to swear in all of the witnesses all at the same time. So if you think you're going to have to say anything during the course of these proceedings, if you would please stand up and raise your right hand, and Ms. Myers will swear you in.
Swear that the evidence you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
That was an I do from everybody, I hope. Okay. Please be seated. Captain Wolfenbarger, if you would you come to the podium, and we will take up the first item, which is the China Pearl matter, having been changed on the agenda. Captain Wolfenbarger, would you explain to the audience who you are and what your role is, and then proceed to explain, if you would, the situation with the China Pearl first.
Okay, my name is Captain Alan Wolfie May. I'm a captain with the Sheriff's Office. I'm the beer inspector of Knox County and the town of Farragut.
Thank you. Would you take up and explain the charge with respect to the China Pearl, please?
On April 21st, 2016, I sent an underage minor in to China Pearl, 115 Brooklyn Avenue, Farragut, and my underage was sold a Bud Light draft.
And for the China Pearl representative, let me ask you at this point, and you can translate for me, does the China Pearl agree with the charge that their employee sold the beer to an underage party?
才给你 charge 说你这个 employee 卖给 minor beer， 看你问你是不是同意你的 charge， 所以这个事实是不是这个事实同意这个 charge？
对。
Yeah, he said it is, and may I just say, he showed me he has an opening statement that probably should be read at some point, I guess.
Sure. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, you want to read it?
我先跟你说话。这是他当时的。
I just saw it before here. Let me try to read it because it's handwritten.
Okay.
A bit.
他现在是说要我们讲当时的情形，是不是？
不是，他就问你，就是他刚才给你的 charge 是不是你是不是同意就是有这事情发生？对。Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We are present here today because one of our employee server made a mistake of serving beer to a minor while on duty at whatever date. She followed the regular procedure of checking the customer's ID, but unfortunately she made a mistake. She mistaken the date. She has no intention of putting anyone's life in danger or at risk. She had been working with the restaurant for more than 10 years, but only 2 years with the current owner, the full note here. And since this is her first mistake / offense, and definitely will be her last because she has learned a valuable lesson. She attended the Tennessee alcohol server knowledge class today, and we have taken preventive measures in the restaurant to ensure that the same mistake will not happen again. We ask for your leniency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it will.
So what he said is there's the check the date, but mistaken in the calculation the actual age, as it was said there.
Okay. Could you identify the owner of the establishment who is with you there? His name?
你名叫什么？
常胜元 Owner the name is 美莲王。
Owner's name, the name of the owner? Mei Ling Wang.
Yeah.
Mei Ling Wang is the owner.
Okay. And what's the representative's name?
Manager.
A manager.
Okay.
The manager.
And what's his name?
常胜元 last name is 袁长胜。
Chang Sheng, last name is Y-U-A-N. Y-U-A-N is the last name.
Okay.
First name is-
Chang Sheng CHANG SHENG is the first name Chang Sheng. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. As I understand your statement, that you were agreeing that there was a violation, and we'll move now to the penalty phase. And I think your statement that you read would be your statement of mitigation, requesting leniency on the penalty, as I understood the, you want to communicate with him?
他刚才说，就是你现在已经同意这个，刚才you serve the minor，这事情发生了，然后你现在就是现在已经 move 到 penalty phase， 让你你现在就是请求他们就是要从轻处理，对吧？
OK，你不帮我跟他讲，这个是在2015年，
对，
他这个学有一个嘉奖，就是说我们并不是故意的。然后因为这个是他给我们的嘉奖，就是说他们同样的情形，我们也知道他们没有，所以这个先给他们看。然后我的员工也去上了课。然后现在我做的处理就是说，我们现在每个人都有发这小卡，然后上面就是有证明，就是跟我们的 ID。等一下啊，
Just
没关
before I
系，像这样 ID， 他可以说就
Yeah, I think in essence what he said agree with what you just said, but they give me a bunch of stuff to submit, I guess, to you what they have done or they are doing to mitigate the situation. So there's
然后还有我们现在也在做上头，做每个
okay,
做。
so there's a bunch of stuff that you want me to bring it to you or,
Okay.
okay, so,
那还有一个就是卖酒的冰箱、冰柜都有贴的，对，卖酒的冰柜。
so you want to come over here to?
Yeah, okay.
The items you're providing are evidence of things that they are doing to prevent,
The situation.
so it won't happen again, if I
No,
understand it.
exactly.
Okay.
So basically, this is the, let me go one by one. This is what they're gonna put on all the, the fridge, on the fridge, where the beer are gonna be kept. You're gonna have this one. And this is, the proof that the employee being retrained today. The offending employee.
Okay.
And this is the, he said, a letter in 2015 from sheriff's office, I guess.
And this letter is basically a letter from the sheriff saying that they had, in 2015, had sent an underage drinker in and had been and that person had been properly served, and he was just notifying you that there was no violation in 2015.
Right, so.
Okay.
And the last item, he said, every employee will have a car like this one under, and then when we have a driver's license, it's just line it out, make it easier to, you want to show it? To check the date, I guess, so that the server can check quicker.
Okay. Oops. And this will be on the table? Okay. Go back. Thank you.
我可以说几句话吗？帮我问他。Okay.
Okay, I think it'd be appropriate now if the board would like to discuss or ask any questions that they have and discuss how you would like to handle this particular matter.
Well, I would
Okay.
first like to ask if this is their first offense.
Okay.
Just need choices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, I think they've tried to make amends and hopefully will be a little more cognizant of who's doing what.
对，有检查。
We do have to
对，犯错了。等一下，等他。
approve some kind of punishment.
He just stressed that the employee did check the driver's license, just miscalculated the date on the license. They did check it.
But that license would have had a red strip in it. That's pretty easy to see.
灯光太暗了。
Yeah, yes. I don't know what.
那天 OK， 你帮我翻译说。那天因为我们正好有，I'm sorry, I took my language. OK， 那天因为我们正好有员工临时请假晚上，所以人手会不太足。然后
That the same day that when it happened that day, there was a employee that had to be absent for that day, so emergency or whatever. Right? So
然后他
people.
Yeah， 那我们 Lily 就是我们的 employee， 他上了一整天的班，他原本只有半天，他上了一整天的班，所以有点疲劳。那我们的下午的时候灯光又不是很亮。
But the offending employee was on overtime for this shift and said tired and the light was dim.
所以Lily 她发生这个事情的时候，她也好几天晚上没有睡好，她非常的自责。我可以体会她的心情，其实她并不是故意的，因为实在是感觉她是有点疲劳。
So Lily, the offending employee, felt really bad in a few days after work and couldn't sleep, and he honestly said it was a mistake.
然后 还有就是啤酒，就是酒类啤酒，并不是我们 China Pearl 主要的收入来源。
Beer is not our China Pearl's main income.
那我们没有必要说故意去犯这个错，我们完全是因为个人的身体的问题。
So we don't have any real reason to sell beer to people.
那我觉得，在我开店，我自己有一个对自己的期许，就是凡是以道德、以良心来做企业、来做事情。
Go ahead, it's half sentence.
你看翻译。
Operating a business, my guidelines is operate to be moral, be conscious, according to my conscience.
然后我们都会注意到顾客的，除了他的健康，更重要的是他的安全。
So we will not only pay attention to customers' health, but also to their safety.
那如果顾客要求要多喝1瓶2瓶，我们甚至会阻止他，不给他。
So sometimes when the customer asks for more beer, we often tell them no.
为了这件事情，其实我也难过了很几天，然后又耽误到大家的时间。
So, because of this, I'm sort of pretty saddened for the last for quite a few days too.
那
And I apologize for wasting your time.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Please feel free to ask. And then I think we
Well-
need a
We need a motion
motion
for
for some sort of penalty.
Well, I personally think that this is their first offense. They're obviously trying to do something not to allow to happen again. I think a fine of a reasonable amount of money should be given to them. I don't think we need to revoke their license or stop them from selling beer. I would just like to come up with the right amount of money to fine them.
In the, I'm glad you brought that up. In our ordinance, what it provides is, with respect to each permittee, when there is a violation, the board may, at the time it imposes a revocation or suspension, offer the permittee the alternative of paying a civil penalty not to exceed $2,500 for each offense of making or permitting to be made any sales to minors, or a civil penalty not to exceed $1,000 for any other offense. So the way this has been done in the past, and I think the way our ordinance is set up, which is under state law, is the permittee is given the alternative of taking a revocation or suspension of their permit to sell beer for a period of time, or at their election, whatever penalty you fix not to exceed $2,500.
Can you ask him if he would prefer a suspension or a monetary fine?
你是如果这个 punishment 你是更想要你的 license suspension period of time，或者是
Maximum 7 to 30 days.
suspension 不知道多长。
I think the proper way to do this is to, let me read one other section of the code so you'll have it down.
还是罚钱？
罚钱不超过2500。
问说要停牌还是罚钱？是不是？
问题是你想要停牌还是要罚钱？
Sir, let me read one other section for you. This may help you in your decision. If a civil penalty is offered as an alternative to revocation or suspension, the holder or the permittee shall have 7 days within which to pay the civil penalty before the revocation or suspension shall be imposed. If the civil penalty is not received within 7 days, the revocation or suspension shall begin 8 days after the beer board hearing. If the civil penalty is paid within that time, the revocation or suspension shall be deemed withdrawn. So it will be an alternative, and you will have 7 days within which to make your decision as to whether you would rather pay the civil penalty or the revocation.
问一下 revocation 多长时间？他就是你如果是要付钱的话，就是7天之内你不付的话，它自动变成那个你把那个停牌自动停牌，7天之内你可以付钱，但你可以问他停牌需要多长时间，停多长时间？
他的意思是说2个给我选择，还是说我们一定要付钱？
让你选择。你现在就是，如果你现在选择付钱，1个礼拜之内不付的话，你自动变成你停牌。
嗯哼。
它刚才是
那停牌得停多久？
They ask how long is the revocation last？
We haven't decided that yet.
没有定。
还没定就对了。
And I think that that's really where we are. What we need is a motion as to the length of the revocation and the amount of any civil penalty as an alternative, and then they would have the 7 days to make their judgment as to which they would prefer.
I do have one more question. How long, China Pearl's been in Farragut for a long time. How long have y'all been in Farragut?
From I'm not a situation. From his open ceremony, that they came here, took over the restaurant 2 years ago. 2年前对吧？
他怎么讲？
他问你在 Farragut 多长时间？
China Pearl， 我在菲尔给2年。
Yeah. The employee was with the restaurant 10 years, in what it says in the opening ceremony. But they took over. The owner took over the ownership 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes.
And
But the restaurant has been there longer than
Yeah.
10 years.
20 years,
Longer
25
than-
years.
than me here, I'm here for 50, 60, 70 years. But it's longer than when we were here. The restaurant was here.
Yeah, I know it's been here over 20 years. So this is your first incident with this.
Yeah.
Are we looking for a motion?
Yes.
I move for a civil penalty of $200 or a 1-week suspension.
或者一个 week suspension promotion 现在是他们
付200块
or
就对了。
Yeah.
200 or 反正
Can have the choice.
Yes.
Been suspended for how long?
A week
就是
is my motion.
他的 motion 就是现在建议是
Someone can offer an alternate motion if they
We'll
wish.
have to decide tonight.
I would second
200
that.
就付100块了。
All right. The motion is for a $200 fine or a 1-week suspension. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you understand
sir.
you have
Thank you.
a
Yeah.
week to decide.
Yes.
Okay, the next item is the citation involving Snappy. Oh, which one? Big Kahuna? Oh, you've got a line, okay. Oh, okay. Big Kahuna Wings. Mr. May, if you would give us a brief summary of that particular incident.
On April 21st, 2016, I conducted an underage beer sting at Big Kahuna Wings, 12828 Kingston Pike. My underage person was served a Bud Light draft, and they did ask for ID. All of our young people, all of them have license. And big red letters here, it says that this one will not be 21 until 2018. So if they check ID and look at that, they don't have to do any figuring on anything else.
Thank you. Is the representative of Big Kahuna here? If you would identify yourself and give us your address, please.
It's Matt Beeler. I'm the owner. My address 218 Baltusrol Road.
Okay, thank you. Do you agree that there was a violation or plead guilty, however you want to describe that?
I agree that my server made a bad decision, yes, and
Okay.
did serve underage.
We've been through this once now. Why don't we just move to the penalty phase? Board, if you want to ask Mr. Beeler some questions and inquire, please feel free.
Oh, well,
Can-
I'll ask the same question. Is this your first offense?
Yes, ma'am. And if it's okay, I kind of give our policy and what we do
Absolutely. Why
first.
don't you go ahead? I should ask you to do
That's
that.
okay.
I'm sorry.
You know, we do not condone it. We're zero tolerance, just like law enforcement is. Unfortunately, one of my better servers made that bad judgment, and because of that was terminated because we are zero tolerance. So he no longer works for us. Staff was actually called for a meeting immediately to reiterate the importance of IDing everyone. That is our policy. We actually ID everybody who comes in. So if any of you guys come in and wonder why we're IDing you, that's why. But also to pay attention. It's not about looking at the driver's license. It is about paying attention to not only the red box, which you would think would be easy, but also the dates and expiration and everything else that goes along with an ID, along with what we have in place of paying attention to how much they're consuming. We have a policy at the fourth drink of notifying myself or our general manager, which in turn we will visit the table, assess the situation on our end, because we do care about the people that are in there. Since the violation and the meeting that we had with staff, we also completed a Tennessee Alcohol Beverage Commission ID class. Every single server was in on that. We actually updated our alcohol policy, which all of our servers read over and sign and agree to our policies. I paid a $1,000 fine to the Tennessee Alcohol Beverage Commission, and now we have to keep everybody updated and refreshed, because it's like anything, unfortunately, if you're not on top of it all the time, it just becomes repetition. So we have, instead of every 12 months, we now go over it every 6 months of basically everything for IDing, serving, and paying attention to those sorts of things.
Thank you.
I commend you for that. Very good. Any other questions?
You guys are pretty new in town, aren't you? How long have you been at this location?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. Have to get by there sometime.
Please do.
Right here.
Any other questions?
You know what? This is a very similar situation to the one we just had, so I would like to make the same motion.
I'll second.
A 7 day suspension or $200 fee.
Second.
Could I take into consideration the $1,000 I've already paid?
Explain that to us. What was that for?
Well, we have a wine permit as well. So the state actually is where our citation came from, not from the county. The server was actually issued the citation from the county, but us as an establishment, because we have a wine permit, were issued a citation from the state, which was a $1,000 fine.
So you're looking more at the monetary versus the suspension, is what you're considering.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my establishment, to not have that for as little as a week even would put, it's not a strain so much. It's not our top seller by any means. It's probably 20% of our business. But our business shouldn't change, so I wouldn't allow that to happen. I would pay the monetary fine, obviously. That's why I asked for the consideration.
In my experience, I think the beer board has on probably average $250 to $500 per fine. So 200 is pretty lenient to begin with, and I don't know in my mind that we can go much lower than that, but I'd like to hear anybody else on the board comments.
I've not heard this this consideration before, that someone had been fined by another entity in an amount that large, and I think that is a mitigating factor. So I'd like to offer an alternate motion of a $100 fine or a week suspension.
I would second that. I'll agree with that. $1,000 is a lot of money for a small business.
Yeah.
And he's already, I mean, he's paid. The point of it is to make them understand what's the fine, I think, to me, to make them understand that this does not need to happen again. And he's paid more than we've ever fined, as far as I can tell.
I think so.
So-
We do have a motion and a second
Okay.
for 200.
But I've offered an alternate motion, so we can just
So we
vote on
have to
it.
vote on the alternate first.
All right, we will vote on the alternate motion, so all in favor, say aye.
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 Under condition that you can provide us evidence that you have paid that fine, you have a receipt for it, or canceled check.
I can give that to you, sure. I do not have it on me, but I can definitely get that to you.
Okay, I'd say 7 days to produce that.
Sure.
Okay.
Now your motion.
It's, what's that, Mayor?
I think we just voted on the alternate
We
motion.
voted on the alternate, $100 in 7 days.
Okay.
Or 7 days.
Okay.
And you're going to supply us with some type of receipt for the
Just
$1,000.
front office where I need to take it?
Yes.
Okay.
Take it to Miss Myers.
Okay.
here, And she'll be glad to take that. Mayor and Board or Beer Board, I just wanted to make sure y'all are aware that you've just adjudicated this issue, but those fines are from the state of Tennessee. They're not from the town of Farragut. So there's nothing that we have control over. Whatever the state does, they do separately from our jurisdiction on beer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next citation is the citation issued to the Casual Pint. And if the representative would come forward and Mr. May or Captain May go ahead and give us a summary of that particular citation.
On April 20th, 2016, I sent 2 underage persons into Casual Pint, 143 Brooklawn, and they were served 2 draft beers.
Okay. If you could identify yourself, name and address for us, please, sir.
Sure. My name is Johnny Miller. My address is 508 Union Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Would you like to make an opening statement
Sure, I
concerning
would.
your situation?
Yes, I would. I wasn't there the night of the citations, but it was my understanding from watching the video footage and then also talking to the bartender that there were 2 gentlemen that approached the bar with 2 younger women. He was asked to give samples of a beer. He turned around to get the beer, set the beer down, and then asked for the IDs. It wasn't my understanding that setting the beer on the bar was then, the violation, but now we do know. So we've since had a meeting the very next morning. There are 5 of us total that work the bar. I, as a manager, gave them, strict guidelines on how we will, moving forward, ID everyone who comes into the bar. And it's not just about a birth date; it's about the validity of the ID, expiration. Got everyone scheduled to get the ABC classes again. Also, I've given them my bartenders an app that they can use to scan IDs. It also shows the validity if they have any questions at all on the IDs. New signage is in our store as well. Just letting patrons know that we will be checking everyone's ID as it comes through. And as you asked before, this was the first violation for us. So, yeah.
Yeah, do I understand, and maybe I misunderstood, but I want to clarify.
Sure.
Did the bartender put the beers down and then check the ID
Yes, sir.
and then
Yes, sir.
withdrew the beers?
Yes, sir. That's my
So
that's my
the
understanding.
people that were served didn't actually end up getting the beer?
No, sir. There was no money transaction. They didn't drink the beer. And he was talking to a gentleman who was of age to, this is my understanding, was of age to purchase beer. The 2 young women that were with him were not of age.
Okay.
And I've seen the video footage and heard his account of that. So,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Captain May, did you want to respond or say something about that?
yeah, that's please do. Yeah.
The bartender actually set 2 beers down in front of my underage people, and the first time he asked about ID was when we went in and said we're with the sheriff's office, and then he told me I was getting ready to check their ID. My exact words were, you should check ID before you set the beer down.
Yeah,
So
right.
I was there. That's what happened.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. I gather from your comment, you're in agreement that a violation
Yes, sir.
occurred?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Board, you want to take it from here?
We will. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm still a little puzzled about how this actually went down. We have two kind of conflicting stories here.
Okay.
So the bartender set the beers down, and then you walked in, Captain Mays, is that?
Like I said, I wasn't there. He certainly was, so I would. Yeah.
And at that point, they asked to see ID.
They ordered 2 beers. They set the beer down in front of him. He turned and walked off. When we came in and told him we were police officers, he told me, he said, well, I was getting ready to check their ID.
Okay.
But the beer was already on the counter. I got pictures of it, everything.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen a still video, so there's no audio, so I can't understand what's being talked about. But yeah, I'm just telling you what my bartender told me. So, but it won't happen again. That I guarantee you. Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions, comments? All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll move for the same as we've been giving tonight.
Well, we've given 2 different
Yeah.
ones,
Which
so I guess we need to.
I like
Did,
that last
did
one.
you get fined? Did you get
No,
fined
sir,
by
no,
the
no,
state?
sir, we did not. No.
Okay.
No, we don't. We're just on and off sale beer license.
100 or 7 days.
I'll
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next citation would be, I don't speak Spanish, so El Paraiso. Have I said that correctly?
It's Paraiso.
Paraiso, thank you. Is the representative for that establishment here? All right. Well, Captain, would you like to take it up? I don't know of any reason to delay. They have notice. Would you explain what notice people were given?
The notice we do is I get the information from Captain May, and then we copy it. We have a letter from Mr. Hale that goes out, and we have it's the certified return receipt where they have to sign for it that they did get it. So we do have proof that they did get theirs. And that went out, say maybe.
So what will you do now? Remind them?
I think my suggestion would be that so that we don't have to have another meeting, they've had the opportunity to be here. We move forward in their absence and notify them of what the result is.
Okay.
Do we know if they've had another offense? Is this their first one? And could you explain what happened?
Okay. This is the first one. On April 21st, 2016, sent an underage minor in, bought a 24-ounce Corona Extra, and did not check ID at all.
Well, I think this puts a totally different light on this.
Yeah, I think so too. The fact there are no mitigating circumstances and they haven't shown up or presented any evidence, any mitigating evidence.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that it would be a 30-day suspension and $500.
Second. I think that's fairly consistent with what we've done.
All right, motion has been made, seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? $500.
Will you send them notification of
I
this, Ms. Myers? Thank you. The next citation we will take up is Hana Sushi and Hibachi. Is a representative here. If you would, please, Captain, if you'd give us a little explanation of the circumstances and then we'll proceed as we have before.
On April 21st, 2016, I sent an underage in to Hannah Sushi and Hibachi, 11145 Kingston Pike. They checked ID, but still sold Bud Light Draft.
Thank you. The representative would identify yourself and give us your address, please, and make any statement you would like to make as an opening statement.
Yes, my name is Corey Parton, and I am the manager that's been hired for Hana Sushi and Hibachi, and it is 11145 Kingston Pike here in Farragut. And as far as what's happened, they actually hired me as a direct result of this to be the full-time management and make sure this kind of situation doesn't occur again. The couple that owns this restaurant are really great people. They came to America from Taiwan. They fell in love with the country. They visited here from Washington. They fell in love with the small town. So they came here to open a business here. They're absolutely devastated about this happening. With them, it's more of being dishonored and kind of a big notch on their family name. So they've made a lot of effort as far as not allowing this to happen again. They hired me, like I said, as a full-time manager to overlook any and all orders. And I do hold a mandatory weekly meeting with all employees, not just servers, just to go over ethics and what we're looking at as far as any time any alcohol is being served. And we actually have given them a really strict guideline that they need to follow at all times, which consists of removing the ID, checking for watermarks, writing the birth date in their book, and as of right now, we are still on. We've put ourselves on a probation that anyone that's served alcohol, the server has to go through me first so I can verify their information that's been provided. The server in question she is currently on probation and not allowed to serve any alcohol. This was a situation where we had two servers scheduled. One called in. The server in question was kind of overwhelmed at the time. Not that that's an excuse, but you know what happened. This is a new business. They've been in the area about almost 6 months. And like I said, they're literally devastated just the fact that they've been, you know, such a misrepresentation of their family name here in such a small town, you know.
Board, do you want to ask any questions?
Did this person actually look at the license, or?
She did. Like I said, I was hired after the fact, but I've had multiple interviews with everyone that was involved, and she looked at all the IDs. It was just, I mean, there's no other way to say she made a mistake.
What kind of training do your servers have?
They're not allowed to serve alcohol for the first 30 days that they work with us. This girl had been here since opening. She's a good girl. She's 19 years old. She works hard. But I'm not sure what they had been in place prior to this, and they're new to the business ownership. That's why they took it upon themselves to hire me, and I'm literally there every moment that they're open, except for now, obviously. But I do reiterate, every week we do hold a meeting every Monday morning that's all hands on deck, and we just go over, we even role play, taking IDs and how they can calculate it, because we get a lot of visitors that aren't from Tennessee and their identifications are various. So we you know, instead of just having this generic thing we go through, we like to make sure that they're familiar with a lot of different identification forms and passports. Even we've done, since I've been there in the past couple of weeks, they've made a huge improvement as far as what needs to be in the guidelines that should be in place.
So have you had the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission's training course?
I have not personally, no.
Okay, so no one at the site has.
Yes, the owner, Emily, she has prior to opening the restaurant. And, I mean, alcohol is honestly probably right at 10% of their income. Their goal is to provide traditional Japanese food and extremely fresh sushi to the area. They're in no way pushing alcohol, and that's another reason that this happened, because it's rare that they sell alcohol, and the girl was just unfamiliar and she was overwhelmed, and it was a lack in management as well, because obviously management is responsible for anything like this. So that's why they hired me to consistently be there. And we're still, like I said, we're still on a probation for ourselves. So anyone who's getting out, any server that's providing alcohol comes to me and verifies the birth date and lets me know that they're comfortable with the identification form that they've been provided.
What other alcohol are you serving? Wine or anything else? Just beer.
Only tap beer.
Any other questions?
I have no more.
I hear a motion.
I move that we make a $200 penalty, 7 days.
I'll second it.
Check, take
All
your
right.
choice.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's passed.
Thank you. The next citation was issued to Mind Your P's and Q's. Is the representative for that establishment here? Okay, good. Captain, if you'd go ahead and give a brief explanation.
On April 21st, 2016, sent an underage person in to Mind Your P's and Q's, 12744 Kingston Pike, Farragut, and was served Miller Lite Draft. No ID checked.
Thank you. If you would, please, ma'am, identify yourself and give us your address, and then make whatever kind of statement you'd like to make for the board.
My name is Marcy Stiles. My address is 11048 Roan Drive. This is obviously something we do not accept from our staff. We're committed to the rules and the regulations, not only of the town of Farragut, but of the Alcoholic Beverage Commission. We hate that this violation occurred. This is our first offense. And we were also given a fine from the Alcoholic Beverage Commission of $1,500, which we are in the process of paying. All of our staff has 30 days to have their ABC card from the day they're hired, so all of our staff has actually been through the training. And I know in the report that we were given, he did check for the ID, but again, he still served the person. So in the citation we were given, it was written out that, so I don't know if it was different yours.
Okay. Captain May, does the report say that the ID was checked? I think that we ought to clarify that.
Yes, the ID was not checked.
Was not checked.
No.
The report I was given, it said that he did check it, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
What action have you taken toward that employee?
This staff member has attended the ABC class again. He is actually one of our lead and senior bartenders, so we immediately had him meet with all of our staff to discuss the importance of this and the grievance of this. We have also we educated all of our staff on being vigilant on this and just how important it is to verify. We've downloaded an app on our cellular devices. You can actually, we have our staff scan an ID when it comes in, and it tells you whether it's a valid ID, if that person's of legal drinking age. Our POS system, we have it on all of our POS systems, so that when they go to log in anything, it pops up, this person must be 21 by this date, and it has the date listed on all of our POS system. And we just stress the importance just of how important that this can't happen, that you have to ID people. And we've already seen our staff come together and work together. You need to be sure to check the ID on that person. I've checked this, or, so we've seen our staff come together and work together on that.
How long have y'all been in the town of Farragut?
About a year and a half.
I thought you were pretty new here.
Yes, sir.
Where 12744 Kingston Pike, where is that exactly?
We're in the Renaissance Center.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'd like to make the motion, the fact that they've already been fined $1,500, that we do the same as we did for the other company, and that would be a 7-day suspension or $100.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next citation is the one issued to Snappy Tomato. Representative here, yes. Thank you. Captain May, if you would explain.
On April 21st, 2016, I sent an underage into Snappy Tomato, 11507 Kingston Pike, Farragut, served Bud Light in a bottle, and checked ID.
Sir, if you would identify yourself, give us your address, and then make any statements you'd like to make to the board, please, sir.
My name's Simeon Cross. I own and operate Snappy Tomato Pizza here in Farragut, as well as the one in Seymour. Address is 11507 Kingston Pike. I'm at 704 Church Street. It's my personal address. That's my personal information. There you
Okay. Do you have a statement you want to make about the circumstances?
Yes. I am not guilty of serving alcohol to a minor. I know you hear everybody coming in here checking IDs, and you see the red strip. How can it be obvious? So obvious you overlook it. Until anybody actually works in the restaurant industry and is in those shoes, it is easy to overlook those things. You're in a hurry. Restaurant is one of the higher stress industries to be in. I believe it's in the top 3, if I recall correctly. So there's a lot of things happening, and to stop and check an ID, obviously it's something that needs to be done every time. But it is easy to overlook stuff. You're planning your next step. You're moving ahead. Learning to take a deep breath and just read the identification is huge, especially for people that don't serve a lot of beer. Like we don't serve a whole lot of beer. So as far as the actual serving, people came in, ordered Bud Lights. They wanted to take their time to order food. So during this time, I would go grab the alcohol and sit it on the counter. Now, at our place, we don't have servers. We don't have tabs. You pay for your product, no matter what it is, and then you receive it. So they were still deciding. It's like, okay, put them on the counter. And about this time, I turn around and grab a towel or something. And it kind of struck me that you ever have things hit you late, for instance, and this has happened several times. The customer pays for their food. You give them their change back. 2 minutes later, the guy that cashed them out goes running out the door. Hey, sir, I shortchanged you. Here's your $10. It's my fault. Honest mistakes, honest miscalculations. Now, the date of birth that's on that gentleman's picture right there that has the ID in his folder is 1/29/97. It just did not occur to me at that moment when I checked it in a hurry that it was not of age. But it did dawn on me shortly after. Is that date correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
And I was going to ask for the identification back before completing the sale, but I was not afforded that opportunity. I assure you, I own and operate. I would never serve alcohol to a minor. Was I in a hurry at first? Yes. But it did dawn on me, and I was going to ask again, which is exactly why I know the date of birth that was on that ID card.
So you're saying you did not complete the sale?
The sale is not completed. I also have ticket history, void history for tickets, showing that there was not even a voided ticket for this transaction. There was not even a ticket actually made for this transaction. Just because I had collected the beer and put it on the counter does not mean it was theirs. And with every bit of honesty, I was going to ask again, which is exactly why I know the date of birth on that card. It's just one of those things that hits you late.
Let me ask a question, sir. Be clear. Is it my understanding that you're not admitting a violation, or that you're contesting the citation? Just to be clear.
Yeah, like I start with, I am not guilty of selling. Violation: sale of alcohol to a minor. I am not guilty of that charge on this paper.
Did the minor actually touch the bottle?
The beers never moved from that counter. In fact, when people order food they order at the counter and they go sit down, and we bring them their product, whether it's beer or pizza or whatever item it is. There was no money. There was no plastic debit card or credit card. There was no reaching for a wallet. And if you would like to see my ticket detail for the day, 1, you can see that I did not void a ticket. 2, you can see that there was actually no canceled ticket, which means you start a ticket and then just cancel it out. In order for a ticket to process, you have to cash it out, which there is nothing of that either. If you'd like to see this, I'd be more than happy to bring it to you.
Captain May.
Yeah, Captain May wants to say something, and I, if we're gonna have a contest of a charge, and gonna need to proceed in that way, then we may need to continue this until we can get the people that were actually involved in the transaction.
The only statement I wanted to make was the sale, when the alcohol is set in front of you, the sale by Tennessee law is a sale then. There's no money has to change hands. You don't have to give a credit card. You don't have to pay cash. When the actual alcohol is set before the underage person, that's a sale.
The alcohol was placed on my counter. That is not the customer's table. That is not the customer's hand. Like I said, upon finishing their order, the assumed order they were going to place, I was going to ask for their ID one more time to double check. And as I said, I know that ID, the date. It just struck me late. But with all honesty, how would I know that date? It hit me late. I was not going to serve alcohol to that minor, and they jumped the gun. If they had waited just a little bit longer to try to complete a transaction, they could maybe assume I was going to, but I would not have, because I would have checked the ID again. It just hit me late. Honest, I mean, that's about as honest of a transpire of events as you could possibly get.
Well, from the legal standpoint, I'm not disputing at all the captain's assessment of what a sale is under Tennessee law, but I don't know that. And if we're going to, this gentleman is contesting the violation, and if it's up to you guys whether you acquit or not, but if we're going to have a full-blown hearing, I think we need to have a continuance so we can bring the people who were actually there in to make sure that we have all the facts. But it's up to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that law, that once it's placed on the counter?
I did not. I was not aware of that law. No, ma'am.
Were they standing at the counter, or were they waiting to? They were standing at the counter.
They were standing at the counter, but they were stepped kind of back away from counter because they were
looking at what they wanted.
What they wanted. Yes. I'm a man, if you don't mind me speaking, if I make a mistake, I own up to it. The events that I've told you that have happened is the honest truth. The way I operate my business, I've been in business for 4 years on my own, and I have upheld integrity to the highest degree. I pay my taxes on time, I pay my employees on time. I don't bluff the books to make it look I make more or less on paper. I am to the letter of the law when it comes to my business and operation. And I just wanted to put that out there as a factor when making your decision.
Captain May, the law that you're citing, is that part of the ABC training that all servers are required to undergo? Yes. Okay, so I guess we would say you should have known, and
No.
ignorance of the law is not an excuse in something that's important.
Have you gone to the ABC class yourself?
Yes, my card should be ready for pickup. However, according to Rick Vance, the ABC coordinator, for beer sales only, you do not need to hold an ABC card.
But you have been to the class,
My card should be ready for pickup anytime.
so you should be aware of the
So now
law.
I should be, yes, sir.
Well, did you go to the class before or after this event?
It was prior.
Okay.
So you should be aware you've made a mistake.
Now, honestly, and it's a 8 hour class. Did they go over if it sits on the counter? Is it considered a sell at that point? Honestly, I don't recall, but we can get into semantics as to what is a counter and what is a table, what is your possession and what is my possession. A sell is a sell, and after that sell, you are allowed your product. We do not have tabs. We don't have servers ringing items. Once you pay for your product, it is then yours, and we will serve it to you.
Well, I'm willing to give the gentleman the benefit of the doubt. If you can provide us with your with that card when you receive it, I think you understand beyond a shadow of a doubt now what that law, how that law reads, and so I'd make a motion for the $100 penalty or a 7-day suspension, your choice.
$100 penalty it is.
Second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is passed.
That's it, I believe, for what we have on the agenda.
All right, any other comments or questions from the board?
I have none.
If not, the Beer Board meeting has been adjourned.